Hello and welcome back to Rapid Regeneration. I'm David Escamilla. I'm not a doctor. I'm not making any medical claims or any claims about diseases. I am a regenerative detoxification specialist from the International School of Regenerative Detoxification, and this is brought to you by rapidregeneration.com, which is my personal mission of sharing the information that got me out of the hell that I went through when I fell ill at age 22 and suffered for many years before finally reversing all of the pain and discomfort and despair and trauma that I was experiencing, and I got it all back and I reversed it all and I completely recovered. And so it's my goal to share that information with you, what worked for me, what didn't work for me, and the most effective tools, because it's my mission to help you to get yourself healthy. And if you're already healthy and you want to go to the next level, I can help you with that too, because after getting well, I've just continued to ascend, continue to elevate what I'm doing. And let me tell you, from a performance standpoint, it's unbelievable what this information can do. And so today is going to be a linchpin of the whole program of Rapid Regeneration, which is liver cleansing, specifically liver and gallbladder cleansing. So this was when everything just blew up for me. I mean, like when I discovered this, when I heard about it, something about it just resonated with me. Like I knew that I needed to do it. And when I did it, it was incredible. And like so many thousands of people, I mean, tens of thousands have reported, what happens when you do this liver cleanse is kind of unbelievable and shocking. And it was amazing what happened and how much better I felt in just a few days. And so basically, this is it. This is the real fireworks. Now, maybe it was just especially powerful for me. I can't guarantee that you would have, as transformative of results from doing it in terms of, I just felt so much more energy. I felt pressure being relieved in my sinuses. I felt like just clarity of thought, and I just felt so much better. Now, I can't guarantee that would happen for you. That might not happen for you, and maybe my liver was just in such bad shape that I just really especially needed it. I mean, I did used to party a lot, back in the day, and it was a lot of alcohol. It was experimenting with different substances, and all that can take a toll on the liver, as well as unhealthy food can, and medications, and a lot of things like that. And then of course, when I got sick, it was because I literally overdosed on over-the-counter cough medicine, and I'm sure that just toxified the liver, the whole body really. But I don't know if the liver had some role in getting especially toxic because of that, and so maybe I just really needed a liver cleanse. Everybody's different in the health challenges you're dealing with. Certain parts of your body are in need of more attention than others, but certainly everyone's livers are on the front lines. I mean, there is a huge widespread problem with low liver function. The liver is so important. I mean, it does so many functions when you think about it. And if it's not working, you're really trying to fight a battle with one hand or two hands tied behind your back. It's a huge organ. It's the largest the skin's the largest organ, but it's 3 times as big as the heart. It has so many functions, hundreds of functions, just to name a few, just so you can get familiar with what maybe is not working properly for you, and maybe what could help if it was cleaned out. But the liver creates bile. It detoxifies certain substances through chemical reaction and transmutation. It creates immune cells that destroy harmful organisms. It transfigures compounds from one thing to another, like glycogen to glucose or amino acids into glucose. It stores excessive fats, vitamins, and minerals, and also spreads various compounds throughout the body. It's so essential to really the metabolism, how food and energy from that is stored and processed. And, the thyroid is particularly important to metabolism, as well as, the state of the gut, the health of the gut. But the liver and gallbladder is key. And if you have low liver function, then it's no wonder why someone might be overweight, sluggish, low energy, low metabolism, and so many other issues. What people don't always realize, and what I came to learn when I started studying this information, is that the liver can function at low percentiles and you can still survive and live your normal life. The liver can be at 20% and 30% function and you can still go about your day. Just imagine that. So how much better would it feel if you were closer to 100%? And that's the transformation that I'm talking about, that I felt. And I don't know what shape your liver is in specifically. I mean, you can get tests done to find out, and that would be one way to tell. But I'm just telling you that this is powerful information, and it's been known for a long time, even though it's not practiced by the mainstream scientific community. They're not hip to this information, but they will acknowledge that there's a problem with liver problems, fatty liver, non-alcoholic cirrhosis, alcoholic cirrhosis. I mean, things like alcohol, marijuana, over-the-counter medications. These things are very, very toxic to the liver. Not to mention, you got to understand that when you eat toxic foods, basically, or just any complex foods, if you're eating foods that are high in fat or high in protein, you have to understand that basically this creates certain acidic chemistry whenever you eat a food that's, we're going to get into food later and the breakdown of different foods. But let's say if you eat a meal that's very high in protein, or you eat a big steak, or just a big veggie burger, or something like that. Basically what's going to happen is it's going to create, this is now a complex digestive process compared with if you're just eating, a piece of fruit. Is simple, very simple for the body to break down. Well, now this creates a whole metabolic digestive process. A lot of acids get created with this. And basically the liver has to neutralize the digestion of that food. So the liver gets sort of overworked before that chemistry gets broken down and those acids get processed out by the kidneys, and before the intestines can process the food, the liver has a role to play. The liver gets very, very overworked in diets that are high in fat, high in protein, animal products, complex foods. And so basically it's not just if you're partying all the time and living that lifestyle. The liver gets constantly overworked through the modern diet. And basically it's caught in the crosshairs. And so basically I would be shocked if your liver was not in some state, if all this happens, then basically, if it gets overly toxic, it can you could get congestion in the liver, just like you can with the gut. And the intestinal tract, as you get this mucus and you get this buildup and you get this junk that gets stored in there. Well, anytime you have acids, the body is going to try to buffer those acids and sort of store them, like this is what happens with cholesterol Or this is what happens in the gut when you have this mucus that forms and hardens and it encapsulates these acidic toxins. Well, in the liver, the philosophy behind liver cleansing is that the liver becomes acidified, it becomes toxic, and as a defense mechanism, the body sort of creates these calcifications or these kind of blobs that will encapsulate this acidic slurry that would just cause harm and disintegration to the organs. And so what happens is you get these sort of stones that form. Now these are hardened sort of blobs, calcified blobs, and basically lipid stones. They're lipid, and so these are trying to buffer the acids inside the stones. But basically, you can get the liver and gallbladder that's filled up with these stones and congested, and these stones are acidic as well, and this can cause hypofunction of these organs. So the Greeks figured this out thousands of years ago, the ancient Greeks, where basically they figured out how to do liver cleansing using olive oil, and that's the same basic philosophy that's being used with this modern formulation of the liver cleanse. Now, this also uses an herbal formula, and basically I just want to describe how it works. But that's basically the goal. The premise of this cleanse is that there's individuals, maybe yourself, whose gallbladder gets all toxic and filled up with these blobs and these stones, and the liver, excuse me. And so essentially that's the premise. And basically that this cleanse will facilitate those organs purging out these stones into the colon, and then they're eliminated through the body, and you can see them after they come out. Now there's skeptics online. If you do research online, there's skeptics and people who say, well, when people do this cleanse, yeah, all these stones come out, but how do you know they're coming from the liver and gallbladder? And, maybe these stones are just what happens when the body soaks up the olive oil and then it forms these stones. And so, that's what you're going to find. Now, I can't guarantee that these stones are from the liver and gallbladder. They came out of me. I don't know where they came from, but I'm betting that they probably came out of the liver and gallbladder. I mean, we know people get their gallbladders removed and they're full of stones, and I don't know about the liver, but it just makes so much sense. It's hard to argue when something just feels like it makes sense. And you know what? I don't care where those stones were. I'm just glad that they're out of my body now. So the way the cleanse works is, and this is amazing, when I found this out and I heard about this, it took me about 5 seconds to be like, I'm doing it. Next week I'm doing it. So if you want to check it out, it's rapidregeneration.com/liver cleanse. This is the original cleanse that I did back in 2015, and it really just rocked my world. So basically what happens is it's this herbal formula is the first part. So you take this herbal formula, you mix it with water, and you make like these big water bottles of water mixed with this herbal formula, and you drink it all day long. Now, you do this for 4 days. Now, what's supposedly happening is that these herbs are specifically, these cold-pressed liquid herbs, it's supposedly targeting this area of the body, and it's supposed to soften up the stones so that they can be, and sort of dislodge them, get them ready for removal, as well as stimulating the intelligence of those organs, as well as loosening up the duct, because you have the duct that connects them into the intestines. So you do this for 4 days, and also for 4 days, you take the colon cleansing product when you go to bed at night. So you take that for 4 nights. Now this is the same colon cleansing product that we just talked about on the previous segment, which you use in the colon cleanse. So the colon cleanse and the liver cleanse go hand in hand. It would be better to do a 5-day colon cleanse before you even start this. But you are going to also be colon cleansing while you're doing the liver cleanse. So you do this for 4 days and 4 nights. And by the way, it helps if you eat a little healthier, but you don't have to change your diet really necessarily. I really didn't change it much when I did the first time. I was still eating really, really bad foods. So basically you do this. Now on the 4th night, basically, and this whole thing should take about 6 days, by the way. This is a 6-day investment. I think the product is less than $100. But basically on the 4th night, you before you go to bed, you basically get a cup and about 8 ounces of olive oil and a straw, and you freaking just drink it real quick. And then if you want to, you can follow it by some orange juice or grapefruit juice or something to get out the taste. And then of course, I brush my teeth really quick right after that. And then you go to bed immediately. You do this right before bed. And what you do is you lie on your right side for 30 minutes, and then you go to sleep. And you also take the colon cleansing product too. You do all of this right before bed. So now this is the part that some people can't handle. And if you can't handle this, too bad. You're not going to do it. I'm sorry. There's no other way to to do this, because I wish there was another way. But what happens is when you drink that much olive oil, a small cup, take it like a shot of tequila. Basically, what happens is it's so much concentrated fat. Well, when the body gets that much fat, basically it stimulates the gallbladder and liver to create bile and to basically dump out its contents, to basically help emulsify that fat and digest that fat. So it just stimulates basically the liver and gallbladder to purge. And the ancient Greeks figured this out. And so now when I laid on my right side for 30 minutes approximately, it was kind of wild, because I felt like all the sensation and gurgling that was going on in my upper right quadrant of my torso, where the liver is located. And it was crazy. I mean, it's hard to describe the feeling, but it felt like little things were moving around in that whole area. It was very, very fascinating. And then, you go to sleep and you wake up. And basically, I'm trying to remember, on the 4th night, do you take the colon cleanse before you go to sleep? Or do you take it upon waking in the 5th day? The instructions are on the product, but basically, the point is that on the 5th day, the 5th day is flush day. And so essentially, that's why the colon cleansing product is so helpful, because it's really going to get the conveyor belt, moving. Now, in terms of scheduling this cleanse, the first couple days are not that intense. Although, you know what? Yeah, by day 3, it was actually kind of emotionally intense, and the liver and some kind of spiritual understandings is thought to hold emotions like anger and negative emotions, and so it was actually kind of intense starting on day 3, and so I mean you could still be working though on the first few days, But I would just simply, don't let that hold you back from not doing it. I would simply just schedule day 4 or 5 and 6, or definitely 5 and 6, when you're not working, because it was probably at least 5 or 6 trips to the bathroom, to go number 2. And, on the next day, on day 5, flush day, that's when it really got crazy, because, these things started coming out, and I felt like I was just in such shock. It was almost like the feeling of getting abducted by space aliens. I was just looking down. I'm like, there's no way that this stuff was in me, because these were blobs, stones, and they were ranging from the size of like a small pea, to a dime, to, a quarter around, and there were just hundreds that came out. So many of them. They were like dark green, and some of them were kind of like fluorescent lime green, and some of them were yellow. Now I was just like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And I took photos, which I'm never going to share, because they're just, I haven't even looked at them. But oh my God, I was so amazed that this stuff was coming out. Now the other thing that happened was, I think on the second or third time that stuff was coming out, I had this sensation, very hard to describe, but I'll never forget it. It was basically, when the bowel movement happened, I just felt like this draining from my head, and it was all draining down, and I felt like almost like this air coming out of my ears, and like my whole system was sort of repressurizing, and especially on my right side. And I felt this huge relief of sinus pressure that happened. And as I suffered for many years from headaches and brain fog, and I just felt clearer, and I had this amazing sensation of energy just going up and down my body. And this all happened within like 15 seconds. And this was amazing. Now stones came out all through day 5, all through day 6, and a little bit into day 7 even, although day 7 was not much. And I did continue taking the colon cleansing product into day 5, 6, and 7. And basically that's what happened with the cleanse. It was incredible. And now when this happened, I felt just incredible. I felt amazing. I felt like a little kid. I had so much energy. I hadn't felt like this in a long time. Now I still was feeling not like myself, like this was about 4 years after I accidentally poisoned myself. For those 4 years, I felt totally horrible and no energy and brain fog and didn't feel like myself. And so basically the liver cleanse made me feel immediately like 30 to 40% better. It was just this huge jump. Now I was still a long way away from being completely feeling like my old self and energetic and quick and all my intelligence and all my faculties and everything. But I did feel amazing. This was incredible to me, and previous to that, my chances that I had thought that I could get myself better were like less than 1%. Immediately I thought, you know what? It's over 50% now. I think it gave me such hope and such optimism that I could actually heal myself from my problems, because I thought, you know what? If the problem is toxicity, all I have to do is get rid of this toxic junk that's in my body. And that's what I really started to focus on. It was amazing. Now, it was so amazing that I kind of got a little carried away, because after that cleanse happened, I I sort of felt almost invincible, and I was just eating junk foods. I was hitting the drive-thru at night. I was eating fast food. I was eating candy, Halloween candy, because it was around Halloween. I was drinking alcohol, and basically I wasn't gaining weight. I didn't have a slowdown of energy like I normally would after eating like that. Nothing seemed to faze me, and I was just going and going and living like this, and cookies and ice cream, and yeah. So this went on for several weeks, and now that's a whole other story I'll talk about in the healing crisis section. But eventually I did come down with like a sickness or a cold like symptoms, and it was a healing crisis. And I'm sure it had to do with me abusing myself like that. I just felt like Keith Richards, how Keith Richards, can take all these drugs and nothing happens. But that's the power of the liver cleanse, is what I'm trying to say. And eventually, it just took me to the next level going through that healing crisis, and then I started to eat more healthy after that, and so simply amazing. Now I ended up, that was in 2015. In 2016, I completed another 2 liver cleanses. So you can continue to liver cleanse. The proprietor of this formula actually says that something magical happens when you do it in 3s. So when you do 3, now the second and third time, what was crazy was almost as much stuff came out. I mean, it was less stuff every time that came out. It wasn't as dramatic, but it was still amazing. I mean, it was still just as beneficial the second and third times. Then I finally completed a 4th liver cleanse in 2019, 3 years later, and barely much stuff came out. And the stuff that did, it was more yellow. The stones were smaller and they were more yellowish. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if that indicates, maybe it seems like it does, that the body was cleaned out. So that's it. That's the amazing power of the liver cleanse. I'm so excited to share this with you. I mean, it's revolutionary information. When I discovered it, basically I was just so grateful. I mean, I knew, I had a feeling about it even before I ordered it. I was like, this is key. And I was so grateful. I just remember like thanking God, like, this is what I've been hoping for the last 4 years. 4 years of suffering, 4 years of not figuring out how I'm going to solve my health problems. And I just needed something. I tried different things. I tried supplements. I tried minerals. I tried nootropics. I tried hot yoga. And, it wasn't working. And I was frustrated. And I just wanted something that was the right, true strategy to use. So that's why I'm so excited to share this with you. It's I made a commitment after that happened that I'm going to try to spread the word to as many people as possible about this and how amazing it is. And it's just one key to the rapid regeneration program and strategy of healing yourself. But it is a very important key. So I hope you'll give it a try. It's rapidregeneration.com/liver cleanse. That helps to support me and what I'm doing. If there's anything I can do to help you, support you, let me know. I do coaching with individuals as well. If you just need a tune-up or some specific questions that you have. So again, stay tuned for more of this information. The next segment after this is equally as a game changer, where we're going to talk about parasite cleansing. So again, the website's rapidregeneration.com. Good luck, and see you on the next segment.
For more information, please follow @Rapid Regeneration or visit rapidregeneration.com.